Two subjects. So let's say hypothetically, a Supreme Court justice was to retire and announce it on his or her own terms. Does President Biden plan to honor his pledge to nominate a black woman to the court?
Well, I've commented on this previously. The president has stated and reiterated his commitment to nominating a black woman to the Supreme Court, and certainly stands by that. For today, again, I'm just not going to be able to say anything about any specifics until, of course, Justice Breyer makes any announcement should he decide to make it.
When you were asked about the vice president possibly being selected as a Supreme Court nominee, you said you're not going to speak to any considerations. Does that mean she is being considered?
Again, Peter, I'm not going to speak to the reports of a Supreme Court justice retirement that hasn't been announced.
So theoretically, would someone who's
Theoretically, I do like that you preface it. I appreciate that.
Just wondering, hypothetically, theoretically, would someone who was an attorney general of a large state and who served with many key Senate votes be an attractive candidate to the president for an open Supreme Court seat?
I see what you did there, Peter. But the president has every intention, as he said before, of running for re-election, and for running for re-election with Vice President Harris on the ticket as his partner. But again, I will just reiterate that I have nothing more to offer in terms of specifics or information on the reports this morning.
Not enough.
Would you have another question for
yes.
me? Go ahead. I know there's other things on your mind, on your
Yes.
list over there.
I'm just going to demur on that one, but it's really an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this event, and I just want to say that.
Come on, guys, let's move this.
I just wanted to say that I think that climate change is the existential.
Okay, I'm looking for a job, Mary, but I might point out when I went to Dearborn, driving that, was up there. I don't know, man. I think the press thought I was crazy. I enjoyed it so much going up and your new EV factory.
The president said for months that he had not spoken directly to Xi about the COVID origins investigation. Now he says that he did talk to Xi about it, but nobody else was there. If the president had that conversation, did it work? And is Xi now playing ball?
What are you getting at there? Are you suggesting the president wasn't being honest about his own conversation with Xi?
No, but the story did change for months. He was asked about it, and he said that he had not directly asked him about the COVID origins investigation.
We don't share every detail of every diplomatic conversation. You know that. The president answered a direct question just a week ago, or I think it was a week ago, yes, and provided that information.
In your 3.5-hour virtual summit in November with the Chinese president, you didn't press for transparency, and also whether that has anything to do with your son's involvement in an investment firm controlled by Chinese state-owned entities.
The answer is that I did raise the question of transparency. I spent a lot of time with him, and the fact is that they're just not being transparent.
Transparency on the coronavirus origins.
Yes.
And you did during the virtual summit. Is there a reason your press staff was unaware of that? And what did you say to the Chinese president?
And they weren't with me the entire time. Look, I made it clear that I thought that China had an obligation to be more forthcoming on exactly what the source.
Inflation. Many people believe that government spending is a big factor in the current inflation levels. Can you speak to concerns that spending plans that come out of Build Back Better aren't paid for, and so could mean higher deficits and more inflation in the future?
Aren't paid for? Build Back Better is paid for. Entirely.
Okay. Can you speak to the concerns that are coming in that it's not actually?
Who are the concerns from, though? But who's saying it's not paid for? Because there have been a range of economists saying it's entirely paid for.
So they're also not expected to contribute to future inflation then?
The Build Back Better bill? Again, it's fully paid for. We would point to Nobel laureates.
Jen, what preparations is the White House engaged in broadly in the case of a Supreme Court vacancy?
I'm just not going to detail any of that from here.
Not about. Unrelated to this, you can't detail what, like, doesn't every White House like to get ahead of this in case of a sudden passing in the case of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? None of that you can share?
I'm not going to detail internal planning from here, no.
Okay, then let me ask you a couple other questions. Is there any scenario in which the president would select his Vice President Kamala Harris for the Supreme Court?
Again, I'm not going to speak to any considerations, preparations, lists, and as we've stated earlier, and you heard the president say, there's a long history of Supreme Court justices determining when they may retire, if they retire, and announcing that.
One more. Should you have a Supreme Court nomination that has to make its way through the Senate, is there any concern that that could crowd out priorities like Build Back Better and make it that much harder to get something done here?
Not without getting into any specifics of what may be on the docket. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time here in the White House, and that includes navigating.
Does the president believe that the current makeup of the court accurately reflects America's demographics?
I will note, though, for you to go directly to your question, he has nominated a historic number of judges who are people of color, a historic, I don't know if it's a historic number of women, but a majority of the judges he has nominated are women.
Jen, I have two questions, two different topics.
Okay.
First one, on Ukraine.
Is it about the Supreme Court?
No, actually,
Oh.
no, I'm not part of this bunch.